What's holding you back from doing the same?
Because, and this is interesting.
I love this. I feel like this is a motivational
We're not going to get in a
talk.
giant debate on this right now, but because you're like back to that point we were making before, your content has always been more like general consumption, like general entertainment. So for you, someone could watch one of your GTA videos and they would probably also enjoy consuming, say, a Roblox video.
You're not answering my question. Why are you not doing it?
That is not true for a Fortnite viewer. So for me...
No, but why are you not doing what I'm doing if it's allegedly
Jordi.
better?
You're the guest on this fucking podcast. I'll kick you off.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Watchtime, your weekly download on everything YouTube, social media, gaming. Today, I'm very, very happy to say we are joined by a good friend of ours, Kwebbelkop, or Jordi. Jordi...
Hello.
Jordi is a huge OG YouTuber. He has 12.5 million subscribers right now. He's still absolutely killing the game and reinventing the wheel as we speak. So we're going to get into all the details of how he got to where he is now, the stories that he's formed along the way. And yeah, so welcome, Jordi.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So jumping right into it, I think the first question that we like to ask all of our origin story guests is, what were you like as a child?
Oh, as a child, I was very talkative. That's why I got the nickname Kwebbelkop, which means chatterbox in Dutch. And
damn,
yeah.
I actually didn't know that. That's so good.
Fun fact. And I was always like goofy and entertainer. I was like the joker. You know, I was always the funny guy or trying to be the funny guy. And I like since a kid, I've been just entertaining people, and that can be with silly acting gigs or just hosting people in general, and just doing fun stuff.
So nothing's changed?
Nope.
I'm low-key kind of jealous that your name has an actual origin story, because mine's just like I threw some syllables together. Yours is like it has a meaning.
Do you want to know the real origin story? Because it goes much
yes.
deeper. All right. So I was about 6 years old, and I crafted this little doll, and I had to give this doll a nickname. And I grabbed a few words, and I said, okay, you know what? Chatterbox, which is Kwebbelkop. But I was 6 years old. I completely butchered the spelling, and it was completely like messed up. And then maybe less. Maybe 6 years later, I had to come up with nicknames for whatever I was playing online at the time. And my sister was like, "Oh, why don't you name it after one of your dolls?" And then I named it after Kwebbelkop, but I fixed the writing, because all of a sudden I knew how to write it, and I kind of became Kwebbelkop, and they became my online username, my gamer tag. Everyone called me Kwebbelkop. It was like my nickname online, and then it became my YouTube channel, and I accidentally became known as Kwebbelkop. And that's the origin story.
I hate that you have a name that has a good story. That makes me jealous. I feel like pretty much every YouTuber I know, though, I don't think there's a single YouTuber I know who was like, oh, I picked this name because I knew I was going to be a YouTuber, and it was like a really good commercial decision. Most people are like, oh, bro, I was like playing COD when I was like 9 years old, and like, I thought it was funny.
That's same for me. Same for me.
Yeah.
So were you always into games growing up? Like, when you look now at the fact that you're a YouTuber, do you feel like you're a YouTuber because you were a gamer, or do you feel like you're a YouTuber because you always wanted to entertain and you loved that side of things?
Yeah, so I was always playing video games. I love playing video games. I still do. And I think I started when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Pokemon Red and Blue. And I played Super Smash, I played Mario 64, and a bunch of other games. And I really loved it so much that I said, well, I would love to do this full time, play video games. So I thought, well, how can I become a full-time video gamer? I could become a professional video gamer, but I'm not that good. I could become that good, though. But then at one point, I was doing my newspaper round, And I said to myself, well, what's a talent? What's one of my talents? Am I good at acting? Nah, not really. Can I sing? Nope. Am I athletic enough to become a professional soccer player? No way. But I am pretty entertaining, right? And then I said, well, I was watching all these YouTubers. I thought, well, I could do this too. I can go and record my Call of Duty gameplay and turn that into a video, share it with the world, make it something funny. And before I knew it, I was a YouTuber.
How old were you when you started?
So I started when it was like 14, 15.
Oh my
And it was
God.
like a video every month. And I'm like, I have these squeaky videos. I'm like, hey guys, it's Kwebbelkop here, you know, with my butchered like
videos
English
still
accent.
live?
No way.
Ah, come on.
They might be. They might actually be. And it's like, I'm playing Call of Duty, and it's like the nastiest gameplay you've ever seen. And it's like being commentated by me with my prepubescent like voice, like squeaky voice. And that's like the origin. Because I was watching Call of Duty videos at the time, and I thought, well, I could do this too. I'm pretty good at Call of Duty.
That's sick. That's crazy. So was it the same channel like 10 years ago?
Yeah, same. Nothing
That's
changed.
nuts.
Yeah.
So you were doing it all through high school, and then when you finished high school, where was your mind at? Were you like, okay, I've got to go get a real job now? Or because back in the day, that it wasn't like you were probably making money from YouTube at that stage, right?
So here's some fun things. So when I was 14 to 16, I was just goofing around. I was just doing a video every now and then. But then when I was when it was about 17, 27th of August 2012, I said to myself, I'm gonna become a YouTuber. I'm gonna set my mind to it, and I'm gonna do it. Every day I'm gonna work on my YouTube channel. I'm never gonna miss a day of uploading, no matter what happens. And every day I'm gonna make a video that's better than the one before. So I'm gonna learn something and then improve and improve and improve and improve.
What happened on that date?
Oh, it was this. I was sitting on the couch, and I was watching this YouTuber, Frankie, on PC in 1080p. And
oh, Frankie.
Good old Frankie. And I was sitting there, and I just had this motivational feeling going through my body, and I said, I'm going to do it. And I just convinced myself on the spot, like, I'm going to become a YouTuber. I don't care about whatever is going to happen. I'm going to do it. And I said, well, there's no better way to do it than to work on it every day, to improve every day, to learn every day. And then the chance of failure, I don't know. I didn't really care. I just said, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go for it.
I just got goosebumps. I love that. Were you always a really motivated person? Like when you were in school, when you were younger, were you like, I need to be the best at things? Because I feel like for me, knowing you as a friend, that's like one of the cornerstones of your personality to me, is that you're extremely driven.
Not at all actually.
Really?
I was more of I don't study for any tests. I'll just go with whatever I can. Like, I'll get a C and I'll be like, yeah, I passed, that's fine. And I was just playing video games all day. So but then what happened was that I found something I was passionate about, something that was interesting, not something that I was forced to do. And it's like, I hate reading books unless I want to read the book. Then I'll read the book in 2 days, right? So it's like, once you find something you're really passionate about, things just change. Like, rules change. Like, it was great. And I took that when I was 17. I finished high school. I passed everything, which is also another fun story. But and then I wanted to take this gap year. I said to my mom, hey, I want to take this gap year. My mom's like, no way. No way you're taking a gap year, Jordi. You're going to go to university. I don't care whatever you do. You need to apply. So I was like, okay, well, I applied for the movie academy. I wanted to become a doctor initially, But then I realized I had to go to school for like 6 more years, and that was like no go for me.
Wait,
And
I have to study to do brain surgery? This is simple.
what? Right? So
Just going to chop some heads over.
so instead, I said to my mom, okay, I applied for the Film Academy. My application got rejected. Oh, no. Oh, no. I didn't really send the best things anyways. And then my mom said, okay, you can have a gap year, but you have about 6 months until you need, or 6 to 9 months until you need to apply for a university. You can do this YouTube thing you want to do as long as you make minimum wage, right? By that time, you need to have made minimum wage. And about 3 months later, I was doing great. So I woke up to my mom. She's chilling on the balcony. And I go, Mom, I need to tell you something. And my mom jumps out of her chair. She looks at me and she goes, "You're gay?" And I'm like, no, Mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm making this much money a month right now. And she's like, you know what, Jordi? I'm going to help you out. We're going to get you an accountant. You're going to have to pay taxes now. And I'm like, what are taxes? And she's like, yes, we're going to do it. I was like 18. And it wasn't easy to get to that point at all. It was every day. Every day I worked on it. Every day I studied it. I watched tutorials. I read articles. I spoke to people. I practiced. And every day I made new videos and every day I was grinding to get to that point of minimum wage.
So
And prayed a little bit to the algorithm.
but what happened?
Yes.
Like what happened?
Just real quick though, one thing I think is really, really interesting that like is definitely consistent, I think, across every YouTuber I know, is that same thing about school, where ultimately, like, to be a really big YouTuber, like, you have to be like really, really driven and really, really hard work. But yeah, to be a YouTuber, you have to be really driven and really kind of, you know what you want and work hard for it. But I think the consistent thing across you, I think me to a point up to like year 10, Lannon, Fresh, every single person we've talked to is like, if they're not working on something they're passionate about, they don't necessarily have good work ethic. Like, it's not like all these YouTubers are also working really, really hard throughout high school. You know, it's kind of like a lot of us, I think, were kind of, you know, not working hard until we found something we were passionate about and then kicked into gear.
Do you ever think like that's a bit scary to think about what happened if you hadn't found that passion thing? Because I notice the same thing
all the time.
I think with you guys, like I see it in literally every one of you. I totally agree. It's like you are all very single-minded on the thing that you're passionate about. It's like you will go to no end to be the best or be the best version of what you can make it. But what do you reckon, like, what if you hadn't found it? Like, or for people that feel like they haven't found their passion, like, is there something you feel like you did to find it? Like, Elliot, you can add in as well, I guess. But yeah, how do you develop what that is?
Yeah. So for me, it was pretty simple. Like, I knew I loved video games, so I knew I wanted to do something with video games. And then, you know, I could become a YouTuber, a professional video game player, or a game designer. My sister has the same passion, and she became a game designer, right? I'm also a game designer now, which is like me chasing down my passion even more. And when I became this YouTuber, I realized I have another passion, right? So you might stumble upon one passion and then realize that might not be the ultimate passion, right? That might not be the ultimate thing you want to do in life, right? Like, I love being an entrepreneur and like running a company and managing people and building something up as much as I like YouTube and as much as I like playing video games.
What do you think, Elliot?
Yeah, I think for me, it was weird. I think it was like two-stage. I think I developed a passion for like getting good grades in year 12 towards the end of school. But I think that to really, but then as soon as I actually got into the more like, you know, law part, like the post-school area, I lost that passion again because I realized I didn't enjoy it. But then when I, you know, kind of got into making videos, I got addicted to it again. I think what I've realized is I'm addicted to results, like fast incoming, like feedback result. And it was like in high school, you kind of got that when you do a test every couple of weeks and you get like an A or a B plus. And I kind of got addicted to that early on. And then it was like, once I was kind of just like doing law, you know, like you weren't getting tested as often. And also when you got a result, like there were like 3,000 people in your course. It didn't matter as much. But then when it was YouTube and those results were coming back in quickly and it was like every single day, new sub growth, new view growth, new all of that. That's what I got addicted to.
Mm-hmm. So I had that too. And then I realized that's the wrong way to look at things, right? So if you are addicted to results, you're prone to like burnouts. So you're prone to like, hey, what if you put in the same amount of effort, but the result you usually get doesn't come out of it, right? So instead, I recently switched my mindset not to results, but to improvements, right? So I'm looking at a video and I go, okay, the video next week needs to be way better than this video. How can I do that? I need to improve this. I need to improve that. I need to improve this. And then ultimately, I don't care too much if my views go up or not, as long as I look at the final product and I can show it to my friends and be like, hey, I'm so proud of this video. We put in so much time and effort. What do you think? Versus, hey, I don't want to show you this video because I know it's bad and I know things can be improved. So I'm currently always looking for, how can I improve? How can I become better? How can I turn my entire operations into something that's better? Right? What are the weaknesses?
Yeah, that's probably such an important mindset as well. I think when you've been doing it a long time, like that's been 10 years for you now. You're right. Like those results that can come in so hard and fast at the start, you know, over the period of a 10-year career with anything, you're going to have peaks and troughs and peaks again. And, you know, you've really reinvented your content, I think, over the last couple months even. So I think that feeling of improvement is actually a really good takeaway because that's something that you can benchmark against yourself every day.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
But let's get it back on track because the 27th of August, 2012, was that the date?
Yeah. Yes, correct.
That's like a massive mindset switch to have though, where you're like, okay, I'm going to do this every single day and have improvement every single day. Did you then stick to it? Did you get a week in?
Every day. I had my tonsils removed. I had tonsil surgery and I prepped videos. I recorded videos when I was on the drugs, you know, from my tonsils.
Okay, tonsil drugs.
Come on.
He lives in Amsterdam.
No.
He's living his life.
He lives in Amsterdam.
Hey, that might have also happened, guys. That might have also happened.
We are recording this on 420 as well.
Yeah, I've had to make videos when I was hungover, when I was sick, when my dad passed away, which probably was the worst idea ever. But to me, it's not about, missing a day isn't gonna make it like my views drop or anything. But to me, it's like if I miss a day, someone else is not gonna miss that day, and they're gonna do better than me, right? So it's like, and I want to be proud of future Jordi, and I want to be proud of past Jordi, right? Because you're constantly criticizing yourself, and when you look back, like I'll look back a year and go, "Oh my!" Like I was so stupid back then, right? Which means that I've developed my myself, and I've become better, and I want to look at future Jordi and make future Jordi proud of Jordi, who's on the podcast right now, who's saying, hey, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna go crazy, but at the same time keep a healthy balance and keep a healthy life and keep healthy like friendships and everything like that.
Yeah. So when you started going every day and you had that conversation with your mum where you were 3 months in or whatever and you were making minimum wage, what was the trajectory like for you from there? Did it take off quickly when you had that commitment, or was there a long period where you were like just grinding and not feeling those quick results?
Yeah. So I was grinding even before, like I was grinding for about a year and a half before like money started coming in. And this was just like the video got like 1,000 views, 2,000 views. I was making like $100 a month, but then this network I signed with was taking like 40%, which was Social Blade, by the way.
Dude.
Fun fact, guys, it was Social Blade. Anyways, I managed to get out of it because I signed it when I was a minor, and that's like not allowed. And they were like, okay, well, sorry, we'll drop it. So it was a lot of grinding. And then for me, it went from like me doing like $100 to me making a few $100 to me having like a big month. Like it like $1,000. And when you're like 18, $1,000 is like an insane amount of money every month. And then it just doubled and doubled and doubled and doubled, and the views kept on coming in. And I think
how
by
are you
the time
feeling
I was like,
at that point?
oh, I loved it. My happiest moment was when I hit like 100,000 subscribers, and I was like, I'm actually doing this. And like I had the gold, like the silver play button in my hands, and I was like, this is actually happening. And to me, it was hard work, but also constantly looking for improvements, right? Like if anyone asks me, how did you do it? Hard work. Like if you don't work hard enough, someone else is going to work harder than you and take your spot, right? And study everything, learn, read, watch podcasts. Like if you're watching this podcast, you're on the right track. Watch another one. Watch 5 more episodes. Watch every episode.
Only this one. Just watch all the episodes of this one. No others.
And then go to the next podcast and read some books. I got some books here I'm reading right now, right? Because even me in the position that I'm in, I don't want to be complacent. I don't want to be like become lazy. I don't want to feel like my ego is too big that I'm like, oh, I'm a YouTuber with 12.5 million subscribers, guys. I just go and boop, upload it, and oh, there you go, 1 million views, right? Like once I start doing that, it's just going to be downhill from there, right? But there's always time to say, okay, I've done that. Now let's go and grind again. Let's get back onto track. Let's start improving again. Look at every aspect of whatever you're working on and say, how can this be better? How can we improve this? Every aspect, right? And it's kind of the Tesla mentality where they grab a car and say, we need the windshield wipers to be the best windshield wipers in the world. We need the tires to be the best tires in the world. We need the chairs to be the best chairs in the world. And then you put all of these things together and you get this futuristic super car that everybody loves, and people will promote it and people will sell it to you even though they don't even get paid for it. And that's the mindset. That's what you want to have, the growth mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's weird for me with YouTube at the moment where I go through those phases, like what you were saying, where you like kick yourself, where like I've had like moments where I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm absolutely like nonstop 24/7 grinding, living YouTube day in, day out, thumbnails, titles, video ideas, recordings, like nonstop. And then I also go through phases where I'm like, I just get lazy and complacent. And then I have to like kick myself and like go back into overdrive again.
So I've been there too, and I do it too all the time. And now I've realized, what if me going into overdrive and just boosting my numbers for the next 2 months while I'm in overdrive, then being exhausted and wanting to go on holidays? Like, why is that the only way to do it? There might be a completely different approach where you, for example, say, hey, I'm going to build an entire team around what I do. I'm going to teach these guys how to do what I do, and I'm going to get them to do the idea grinding. But now, Elliot, it's not you recording, editing, making thumbnails, and coming up with ideas. Now it's one person whose entire job is simply to come up with the best ideas possible and implement these into your company, right? Because then he can keep that up. He can keep that up 40 hours a week. He or she can keep it up 40 hours a week while you focus on other things, right? So now you're still grinding, but you're grinding in a completely different way, which might be a little bit healthier for you.
Yeah. No. I think that's definitely, and I guess we're going to get into that in a bit, but like the automation of kind of like the cycle of YouTube is something I think you've definitely got more down pat than most. Like I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But I think,
Yeah,
Should I
Jordi,
continue?
I think, does it better than anyone I know. But I want to take it back a second. We're definitely going to get into that because I think that's something that's like completely unique to you. And I remember like when we first met and started having conversations, I was like, whoa, this guy's really got a big mindset with it. But
I'm just good at talking stuff. You know?
just
Like
good at talking
it's
shit.
not true. You know? No. Yeah.
But I guess taking it back to those days when you're grinding, you're starting to feel that come up quickly. Did you have a support network around you? Like, were you talking to other creators at the time? Were you going to conventions? Was that like a driving factor for you? Did you have other YouTube friends?
Yeah, so I pretty much surrounded myself with people that were doing the same, right? So, you know, I met Jilly, I met Slogan Man, I met a bunch of other people. I got myself into like, hey, I'm a YouTuber. I want to know more YouTubers. I want to get to know all the YouTubers. I want my friends to be YouTubers or people that are doing similar stuff. And, you know, like I had to abandon a bunch of my old friends, but, you know, you become who you hang out with, right?
Yeah.
And that was also a huge factor because if I was slacking one day, they would call me out. They're like, hey, man, I see you've been playing League of Legends for 6 hours today. What are you doing, right?
Your YouTube friends would call you out on that?
Yeah, you know, and then I'd be like, yeah, they're right. I should probably call them out too next time I see them doing something stupid.
It's crazy how so many of the lessons that people bring up are echoed in different ways, like across all of these interviews. Like what you just said there, where you're like, you're a product of the people that you surround yourself with. That is so true. But it's interesting how like Elliot said the same thing as well. And like Fresh, I think, said the same thing as well when he was like, as soon as I started surrounding myself with people that were doing the same thing and in the same mindset, it just builds and builds.
Things become just so obvious. Like you're like, how did I not see this 2 years ago? You know, like Elliot knows how to make a good YouTube video. And it's the most obvious thing in the world to say, hey, yeah, I know how to make a decently mediocre video and I can coach someone right next to me how to do it. But if you're not surrounded by people with the same mindset, it's like, okay, well, how do you build a car? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right? But also, I think a big thing is it becomes much easier and you're much happier like grinding and working as hard as you need to on YouTube when you're surrounded by other people who are doing it. Like, I think if I was surrounded by people who were like, oh, like we're going out, we're having a great time on a Friday night and we're all like going out and partying and it would make it like a little bit harder to grind because I'm more thinking about like what I'm missing out on. Whereas like, even though I don't necessarily want to go do that because doing that all the time isn't so much my thing, but if I've got, you know, a big group around me who's like, oh, dude, like my views today, my real times are popping right now. Like I hit 4 million in the last 48 hours. Like I'm feeling really good. You'd be like, oh, bro, like same here. I just hit like 3.5. Like it's looking sick right now. What did that
That's
view?
it?
Oh, I had to. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Elliot, come on, man. You can do better. You can do way better.
I was talking about me in 2015. You're not doing 10 million every 48 hours.
Oh, yeah.
That's me these days. But you know, like, yeah, when you've got everyone like gassing each other up and really like feeding in on stuff. Like I remember me, Lockie and Lannon used to sit in Discords for like 2-3 hours a night, just like putting in titles and thumbnails and just being like, oh, but what if you add an asterisk to that word? Yeah. And then it's like, oh my God, this changes everything. And
so
like,
what happened to that? What happened to that? Why don't you do it anymore?
It became too much of a formula on Fortnite. Like I think on Fortnite in particular, I think it's changing now. Like I think the formula is changing now because it ironically it became so formulaic that if you did the formula, it blended in with everything else and your videos didn't stand out anymore. Mm-hmm. But I think early on for the first year and a half of Fortnite, everyone was like, okay, what works? There's clearly like insane potential for viral content in this game, but how do we find it? And everyone was kind of going back and forward and figuring that out. But I think that everyone eventually realized, okay, this is what works. These are the best practices for a thumbnail. And every now and again, you'd have like a video go mega viral and people would be like the random challenge, like we go random skin challenge, random back bling challenge. And everyone's kind of like, you know what? We don't really get it, but Screw it. We're gonna
works. It's
let's
getting
make
10 million views.
let's make 10 of them. You know,
Yeah.
but. You know, I think early on there were more ideas as well, and that's the thing. It was more exciting talking about what ideas people were doing and what thumbnails and what titles, because like you'd be surprised and be like, oh, I'm doing a challenge where I literally like can't touch the ground, and you'd be like, back then you'd be like, what? That's crazy. I never thought of that. That's genius. And these days, I'm like, oh yeah, I've done like 3 episodes of that, dude. Like, you know, like I've cycled that one through. Yeah, exactly. Floor is Lava, episode 7. Yeah, cool. You know, it's so rare. There are, honestly, like I'll say it, there are no original ideas left in Fortnite. And I think that's not even necessarily incorrect at
Bad
all
mindset.
to say.
Bad mindset.
Exactly. It is a bad mindset. You're
Think
not wrong.
outside of the box.
But also, that game has been railed for the past 3 years
It certainly
by
has.
every content creator on the platform.
Me included.
Everyone included. If there was ever a game that was picked dry, it's a game as linear as Fortnite that has had that many creators going through it for 2 years.
So I feel like back then when you were in that stage, that must have actually been around the time you guys met. When did you guys actually meet?
Yeah. So you just skipped a pretty big chunk of my life. Do you want me to run you through it?
Yeah. Sorry, dude.
I don't actually care.
Okay. So I ended up moving out because my mom got crazy because I was recording videos all the time. I was yelling all the time, as I do in my videos, not in podcasts, don't worry. And she's like, you got to move out. So I ended up moving out, and I moved in with Jelly. Now, I met Jelly, and he was sharing the exact same mindset, the exact same drive. He was just green and a little bit shorter than me. And I would also say a little bit less funny than me. So anyways, we became best friends, and we're still really, really good friends. And we ended up moving in together, and that's when things went really hard because it was constantly work. And I became obsessed. I became obsessed with work. My life became work, right? Like, wake up, work, go to bed. Wake up, work, go to bed, right? And it was like I didn't leave the house. I didn't see people. Sometimes for weeks, I genuinely didn't leave the house. I would just order food all the time. And I hit 1 million subscribers there, and things were going great. And then the biggest YouTuber on the platform goes, hey, do you want to join my YouTube network? I'll just take 10% of your revenue, which at the time was completely acceptable.
Who was that?
And PewDiePie.
Oh.
PewDiePie goes, hey, do you want to join my YouTube network? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Revel Mode. He was signed with Disney, and he ended up flying me and Jelly out to Seattle, and we got to meet him there. We got to hang out with him, and it was insanely eye-opening. Because at one point we're sitting at the dinner table, and keep in mind this is small Kwebbelkop and small Jelly, and we're sitting there.
How old were you?
It's PewDiePie. I was 21. I was 21. And it's PewDiePie, it's Markiplier, it's Jacksepticeye, it's Cinnamon Toast Ken, and they're sitting at the table, and I'm like grinding away. 2 videos a day I did on the Kwebbelkop channel. I did a vlog every day too on my second channel. I was doing everything. I was editing. I was making thumbnails. I was overworked because I had to get like a week ahead of schedule to be able to go to Seattle. And Felix goes, yeah, so Mark, how are your editors? And I'm like, what? These guys have editors? And I'm like,
son of a bitch!
No way! I thought he did it all himself.
I
was so mind blown by the fact that these guys had editors that I immediately went onto my computer to my Facebook, and a friend of mine had just messaged me like a day before that saying, hey, are you looking for editors? And I'm like, yeah, you're hired. You're moving in like next week. Come over. Like when I get back from my trip, you're going to be my editor. And that was kind of the start of me starting to give away my time or like giving away my the things I had to do so I could get time back. And that kind of became really addicting because at first I was working like 100-hour weeks. Like, it was insane. And I was at the verge of having like a burnout. And then it was like, oh, I can be done at 9 p.m. with work?
You like can just stand up from your seat and you're like, oh my God, I have a life.
What do I do? What do I do with my time? And then I started hiring more editors. And I was like, okay, that's the editing gone. Now, what else can I outsource? And it will result in a better product than what I could do on my own.
A better product and less work. That's the weird thing.
Exactly.
That's like like a lot of people, I remember, do you remember, like, I would say not even that long ago, even like 3 years ago, you would, like, I would say most YouTubers would really try and keep it a secret if they had
Yes.
Like,
I was in the car with
Yeah.
KSI. He was in Amsterdam, and he goes, we're talking about YouTube, and he goes, yeah, so I have an editor. And I'm like, cool, like, so what? And then he's like, yeah, like, I don't want anyone to know that I have an editor. And I'm like
Like,
why
it's a
not
dirty
just
secret.
share it? Yeah, he's like, yo, let me tell you something, man. Come close, come close. And I'm like, I've like,
Yo, you
two
wearing
editors.
a wire, bro? You wearing a wire?
Yeah. Yo, let me pat you down, man. No, and I'm like, just share it with the world. Like, people
You're like,
don't
yeah,
care.
dude,
Like,
I
I've
got
done
two.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But like 100%, I remember that used to be the most taboo thing. But yeah, because I think it was like either people would think you were lazy or that it just made your content feel less genuine. But I think what ultimately what it comes down to for most people isn't laziness. I don't know many lazy YouTubers. It's really just that when you're already spending hours and hours and hours of a day making the actual content, like recording it, and then a couple of hours making a thumbnail, like if you're also trying to fit an edit into that, editing is not
And upload
easy,
it
man.
after.
Yeah, and uploading
Yeah.
it, titles, thumbnail, like, oh my God, there's so much stuff people just don't realize. But I think editing is a big one where people are just like, oh yeah, you just like, like chop it up a little bit and
Right.
That's
it,
maybe
right?
like add a zoom. It's like,
hit
oh
edit
my
and then
God,
hit
dude.
render. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you do, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're trying to do everything and you're a channel like us who does daily uploads, it's like you either have to do a subpar edit or you literally have to not sleep.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not sustainable, and it also doesn't allow you to grow. Like, you think about all the things that you've been able to do in addition to your daily YouTube uploads now. You never could have done that probably if you didn't make the investment.
No way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even been able to have a social life or hit the gym. A great book I read, it's called The E-Myth. It's they explain, well, if you are working in if you're creating a product, why should you always be the one creating that product? You could just hire someone to create the product for you, and then you figure out how to make the product better. Or you hire someone to figure out how to make the product better, and then now you're in charge of hiring people to make the business run better. Or you just hire someone to do that, and then you just infinitely skills up.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's like this quote that I read once that was like, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go as a team. And
Wow.
Yeah.
Wise words.
Yeah,
Very
you're
wise
welcome.
words, Grace. Thank you. I'm going to write them on my wall.
Okay. So back to it. You went on this trip. So what else happened? Because that's like a pretty major group of YouTubers to meet at that
I got
stage.
drugged. That's one thing.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I was really hungry at a party, and then someone gave me a cookie, and
Is
I
this
ate
in
it.
Amsterdam?
No, this is in Seattle. And
okay, I was
I'm
gonna
like,
say, even I know not to eat the cookies in Amsterdam.
I'm
Definitely
like,
not the
what is
brownies.
this? Is there drugs in it? He's like, no, I got it from my friend. And I look at his friend, and his friend's standing there like, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, by the way, I'm putting my thumbs up, like with the creepiest face ever for anyone listening. And I'm like, oh, so he means like it's good to eat. little did I know that they were edibles. And I was on the toilet next to Jelly at the urinal, and I go, Jelly, I think I've been drugged, you know? And I'm like, get me out of here before I embarrass myself in front of PewDiePie. And he got me out. He got me out. So, yeah, that happened. But it was a lot of, you know, we did a collab. We talked a lot of business, and it was very inspiring and eye-opening. And you know, obviously, I was looking for the secrets, like how did you get so big and this and that. And all in all, what I learned was, you know, you just gotta make fun videos. You gotta enjoy doing it, and you know, you gotta improve and you know, go with the flow. Don't just stick to Fortnite. Like, why would you only stick to Fortnite? Why would you only stick to one game? Like, you're an entertainer. Fortnite is just a tool you're using to make great videos. You can use Minecraft to create great videos. I could use nothing to create great videos, right? Like, I'm not locked to just, you know, making video game videos. I could start my own podcast, for example, too, because I know the mindset that goes into it. I know it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to launch something and it's going to go great right away, but I know that hard work, determination, and just consistent improving will eventually result in a better product. And if that product is profitable or not, that's the question.
100%. Were you like fanboying when you were meeting these creators? Because they're like the biggest in the game. Like, were you...
Yeah.
freaking out? Like, because you were fans of these guys, right? Or you watched their content?
Yeah, of course. I was like, at first I was pretty starstruck, but got to keep it cool, you know? And then from then on, it was like, yeah, I already met like the biggest guy. So anyone else I ran into, it was like, yo, what's up, bro? You know, I'm like, yeah, I've already been at the top. Like, there's no one else I'll ever meet ever again who's going to make me nervous.
That is my sentiment for every YouTuber event I went to, like, before, like, I, you know, reached, like, 1 million. You know, I was, like, I remember going to Gamescom, and there was like, C-Nanas there. It was, like, at the EA event. But, yeah, I remember I was at, like, Gamescom, and, like, C-Nanas was backstage, and I was, like, and he was playing, like, a golf app on his phone. And I like joined in because it was like a group of 3 or 4 of us playing. And I was like, as I left, I was like, I just played phone golf with C-Nanas. My God. And then I remember like, and I'd see like a few people talking and I'd like casually join the conversation. I'd be like, I just joined a conversation where Jericho was talking. And I was like, oh my God. But like at the time, like I'd watched them for like 3 or 4 years. And it was just like surreal. Because I think for people like me who are that into not only gaming, but the YouTube space, it was like, that was literally like the rock star equivalent. Like that was someone who represented not only someone who you like saw in an entertainment sense, but also someone who was like aspirational in a career sense. You know, like that was like the double tick.
Mm-hmm. How where were you at, Elliot, when you met Jordi for the first time?
Yeah, we're pretty much there now in the origin story. But Elliot, like, do you remember?
E3 2016?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2016. Yeah.
But I don't remember like where we first met during that event. I remember the monster.
Because you were drunk the whole time.
No, I remember where it was. It was at the YouTube rooftop party. And we were standing at the bar. I got a great memory, guys, just so you know. We were standing at the bar memorable. in between the tree and the pool on the rooftop. And we started talking. And I remember the conversation we had. And we were talking about your Overwatch videos and you know how I played a bunch of Overwatch and how you're an Overwatch content creator. And I'm like, I've watched a bunch of your videos.
Big fan.
And then we got talking there, and I think we met each other a few more times. I also still remember where I met Grace. It's also a pretty funny story. We're not.
It was EA again. I mean, it was E3 again, and it was at the FaZe party.
Yeah,
that's probably enough details on that one.
and then it was Elliot was there too, and then we all jumped into a car together.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then
We
Grace,
did jump
Grace
into
was
a car together.
Grace was, she wasn't there. And then later on we met and it was like, I met you. We met each other. We
It was
talked a little
so
bit.
funny. So Elliot,
Yeah.
you put me in a cab home with Jordi and Azzy at the time, and you were like, Jordi and Azzy will make sure you get home safe. I was like, okay. It was like 3:00 in the morning. We'd all been at the face
You guys
party.
were at the same hotel, just clarifying. I didn't
Yeah.
just
Oh
like,
yeah. No.
just shuck her in a random cab and be like, Jordi, get this chick home. I don't know where she is, but figure it out.
No. We'd had it was E3, guys. Like it's
It
a
was,
week.
I think, Grace's first E3, which
Oh.
your first E3,
Well,
your first E3
you know
is
what
always
happens?
a messy one.
What happens at E3 stays at E3,
What happens
guys.
at E3 stays at E3. And then I met Jordi probably a year and a half later, sober this time. And I was like, hey, nice to meet you. He's like, we've met. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I was like, I'm pretty sure we met. And then we broke it down. It was like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious. Yeah.
Too funny.
So
too
I
funny.
have another fun story, which is also kind of what you were saying, Elliot, where you met someone and was like, oh, the Holy Spirit, like you're my favorite
Yeah.
YouTuber ever. So I had that too with Syndicate. I walked into a party and then he came over and it was like, hey, Kwebbelkop, nice to see you. And I was like, that's amazing. But I've also had it the other way around where I was someone's, favorite YouTuber. And it happened, this was about also around 2016 E3. So around the time we met, I had these calls with these YouTubers, and I have calls with YouTubers all the time just to talk and just to learn. And you
never called me.
Book club. Let's talk more. Let's do it. And I'll get you into book club. So I have a book club with a bunch of YouTubers. So I'm
That's
talking
the most
to these,
wholesome thing I've ever heard, by the way. Sorry,
I'm
go back to it.
I'm talking to a bunch of YouTubers, and one of my friends goes, hey, do you mind if I add this guy to the call? He's at like 100,000 subscribers. And I'm like, yeah, sure, go for it. And he adds this guy, and it's this dude, and he did like counting videos at the time. And I'm like, that's so strange. Like, he just sits there and counts.
No
And
way.
he goes, man, Kwebbelkop, like, I used to watch your videos, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like a little fanboy. But I'm like, I'm always nice and respectful. Later on, he told me that I was like one of his favorite YouTubers. And he watched me a bunch. And he goes, mark my words, by next year, I'm gonna hit 10 million subscribers. And I'm like, buddy, you're at 100K. That's impossible. Nobody's ever done that before. There's no way that's ever gonna happen.
And his name was MrBeast.
Guess who it was? Exactly.
Wait, was it actually?
It was actually Jimmy.
Oh, that's
yeah,
fucking
MrBeast.
wild.
So-
oh my god.
So I was the one who told him he wasn't gonna be able to do it, and then he completely proved me wrong. Which means that. And that really taught me a very wise lesson that, at that time, my ego was probably at its peak. And I realized that, even me as someone who's been doing it full time for years can be completely wrong about something. Right. And that has kept me in check for quite a while to make sure, like, hey, if someone tells me they're going to become the next PewDiePie, like, I'm not going to say that's like impossible. I'll be honest and be like, there's a small chance that's going to work, but that 1% is still there. And I'm like, if he can do it, so can I. Right.
I was going to say, like, to be fair, the only channel that you would have been wrong about when someone said, I'm going to go from 100K to 10 million this year is MrBeast. So that was like of all the channels, that's the only one you were going to be wrong on. And it turns out you were.
That's crazy though, because you guys are great friends now.
Yeah.
You went.
We
and
got book
visited
club
him.
together. We actually
I really
do.
want to. I want to get him on the podcast next, and we're gonna be like, so what really drove you to succeed? He's gonna be like, this little fucking guy from Amsterdam, so I couldn't get to 10 million, and you know what? I decided to do it just to spite
he
him.
actually tells me, he's like, You know, and it was so stupid when I was like, I'm going to be the next PewDiePie. And you said, like, that's not possible. You can't do it. He's like, that really pushed me to actually get there, right? So now it's the roles are reversed. I'm like, Jimmy, I'm going to beat you to 100 million subscribers. I'm going to pass you. I'm going to get 1 billion views a month. And you're going to just sit there and be like, no, you know? And he's like, that's impossible. I'm like 20 million subscribers ahead of you. And I'm like, he's saying the exact stuff that I was telling him 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Yeah, but now you change the story and you say, I always believed in him, but I knew it would drive him forward. So I told him he couldn't do it.
That would be very smart to say. But now I genuinely thought it was impossible.
What do you think now? Do you reckon he's the next PewDiePie? I mean,
no, it's going to be me, Grace. I'm going to pass him. Yeah. Like, he can try, but at the rate that I'm improving right now, by the time we see each other again, like, I'm going to be on a whole nother level. So, no, I think he could do it. Like, we share a lot of knowledge. And whenever I find something out, whenever he finds something out, first person I shared with is him. So, for example, ways on how he's gaining like 2 million subscribers a month right now might have contributed a little bit. You know, it's also a reason that I'm gaining like hundreds of thousands of subscribers extra every month. Like they're these things.
What's the source, bro?
Hey, I can't tell you.
I'm so close to 10. I'm so close to 10. Just give me a little bit. Give me a little bit.
So anyways, and it's very important too, because he has a research team and I have my research team, and it's much better to just work together and share stuff together and learn from each other.
I think that's something I definitely notice about you, is that you are obviously very driven and want to succeed yourself, but you don't see success as a zero-sum game. Like, you don't see it that your success has to come at the expense of anyone else's. And I think you're very generous with what you learn, and you are constantly curious on other people as well. Like, even though, you know, we don't necessarily work in exactly the same field, you always ask heaps of questions and want to learn and know more, whether or not you can apply that or take like something that you can, you know, like just a little nugget.
Yeah, I'm starting a talent agency, actually. No, I'm joking.
I look forward to you being really generous with this 2 million sub a month trick at the end of this podcast.
Maybe we'll talk at book club. Who knows?
And okay, so something else I want to talk about, or just want to ask, and you can talk about it if you're comfortable or not. We can cut it out if you're not comfortable. But I'm interested on the drinking thing for you, because when it just prompted me. I wasn't thinking about it until you mentioned, obviously, meeting Elliot that night. Like, for people at home, you don't drink at all now. What?
So I actually recently started drinking casually again.
Oh,
which is pretty funny. But I'll share my mindset behind it.
Yeah.
It's, you know, to me, like, drinking isn't necessarily, you know, it's not necessary. You don't have to go out and drink. You don't have to go out and get wasted. You don't have to go out and get, you know, to have a fun time. And at one point, I was going to all these parties, E3 and this and that, and you're there for like 6 days, and every day there's like 3 parties, and alcohol's free. So I said, well, I embarrassed myself a few times. Why don't I just stop drinking? How hard can it be? And I just switched it off, and I just stopped drinking just like that. And to me, it was also a thing of like self-control and you know, being able to set my mind to something and actually being able to do it. And then very recently, I said to myself, well, you know, what now? Like, do I keep this up for the rest of my life, or do I introduce it casually again? And I said, well, let's try it out again. And it actually went great. But I really don't have an urge to do it at all.
Yeah.
So it's not like every time I go out, I need to have a drink, or, you know, every time a friend comes over, I need to have a drink. Like, my go-to drink is water.
yeah.
Like, I've actually really cut out all pop, like soda and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be my new thing, with an occasional drink on the side.
when we were, I've spent some time in Amsterdam with Jordi, and we would be going to some really, really nice restaurants, like great restaurants. And we'd get there and they'd be like champagne, wine. And Jordi would be like, do you have peach juice?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. But the peach juice was great.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
some
good.
good peach juice. Yeah.
Did you ever feel like peer pressured already? Has peer pressure ever been a thing for you? Because I feel like, you know, drinking's not the be all and end all by any means, but you know, it's a common social practice. And I feel like it can be a situation where people can just be like, oh yeah, it's easier to just join in than not. Like, did you feel like that was something that people ever were like, why aren't you drinking? Or, you know?
Yeah, definitely. At the start, it was like, oh, why aren't you drinking? Come on, have a beer. Because my friends were like, why did you stop drinking? But then once I got past that, everybody was very supportive. And everybody was like, wow, good that you're not drinking. But at the time, I was also going pretty crazy. And now with this whole coronavirus situation happening, I thought, well, you know what? It doesn't hurt to, you know, have a little drink. And also because I was very curious, because there's a lot of alcohol I've never tried in my life. And I thought, well, why don't I just try it out a little bit, see how things go. But it's just not really my thing. Like I gave it another shot and now I'm like, I'd rather just drink a 0.0 beer, or, you know, maybe if I go for a night out, I'll have like one cocktail and then that's it. But when I say night out, what I really mean is like, you know, hang out at my place with my new roommate and jump into the jacuzzi. You know what I mean? While I FaceTime with 6 friends at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's my life right now.
I think it's like noticing what keeps you productive and what doesn't. Like even Elliot, you've taken a couple breaks from drinking.
Oh, I was just going to say, and another thing why I thought, okay, well, I'm a workaholic and I work Monday to Sunday 99% of the time. So I said, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work Monday to Friday, and then Friday Eve till Sunday or Sunday Eve, I can do whatever I want to do. And I've actively tried to, you know, not be in my office, to not be at home, to go out, I go for a walk, I read a book. And with that also comes just living your life, right? And I can drink a lot of alcohol on Friday, be hungover Saturday all day, Sunday still be hungover, and then Monday back to work as if nothing happened. And I think it's better for my productivity and better for my work to say, hey, let's have a crazy night every now and then. Because that forces me not to work. That forces me to not be able to work. And then by the time it's Monday again, I'm ready to go. I'm motivated again. And I think it's important to remember, guys, that we're also humans, okay? And you should live your life no matter what. Because at the end of the day, you can be 80 years old, worked your ass off, but if you've not lived your life, then that's something you're going to regret too.
100%. Yeah,
I
Elliot,
agree.
I feel like you have.
Now let's become alcoholics, guys. No, I'm joking. That's not. I'm not trying to push alcohol on everyone there, but But however you want to
I
take
think that
it.
was a big realization I think I had over the past like 2 years or 3 years. Basically, as soon as I got an editor, is that like I didn't want to get to like 30 and turn around and be like, oh my God, look at all this YouTube money I made. I didn't leave my room for the last 10 years, you know, and be like, holy, because like it is crazy how much you can not have a life when you're hardcore YouTube. You literally like, there's not having a life, and then there's not having a life as a YouTuber. Like you can be like a really hardworking lawyer, or like, you know, Grace like used to work at, at PwC, which is obviously like an insanely intense work environment, but you're still working with people face to face. You're still like occasionally going out for drinks after work. When you're like hardcore YouTube, you're like, hey, I didn't leave my room for 4 months. And like, I
and
maybe
that's not even a joke.
out. Literally not a joke. I think if I had, back when I was doing early day YouTube, like the financial freedom to Uber Eats food, I could easily have not left. I think there have literally been like months where Fresh didn't leave the house. literally did not leave his house, not once. And it was like, and it's just crazy. And yeah, so I think that's been a big realization for me recently. It's like, there's a lot of things that I would like put off, and they're all little things, right? Like, it's so easy when you're like hardcore into the grind to make excuses for why you can't do anything. Like, it would be like a family dinner that's like a
Christmas
flight. Yeah,
Christmas. Nah, gotta
like
grind. It's Christmas holiday,
dude. Yeah, exactly. Everyone would go to like Christmas stuff like 2 weeks. I'd be like, look, like I can maybe carve you out like 2 days. But like that's like my peak. And the whole time I was there, I'd be like freaking out, like trying to like refresh, feeds and all that kind of stuff. But I think that, yeah, it's a realization most people come to, is that, you can have both. You can still work hard on YouTube and hopefully automate it to a point where you can also have a life.
That's for sure something, like, I think, Jordi, that you can speak to better than anyone, because you've been doing it for 10 years. And this is a question that I know it's a topic Elliot and I talk about a bit, but I think you look at the people that are still on top and still killing it after a long period of time, and something that they constantly do is reinvent the wheel and iterate on what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, what you started doing 10 years ago is not at all what you're doing now. Even what you were doing a year or two ago, like, your channel was dominantly reaction content. Now you're back to Minecraft. Like, I'd love to hear your mindset, because, I think, speaking to Elliot, iterating on the gaming content he was doing, that was something that allowed him to constantly like take a new step, like going from TF2 to Overwatch to Fortnite. Yeah. But for you, like, you've not only switched games, you've switched whole content genres. Like, how was that for you? Yeah,
it was very intense, and it's not as easy as you might think. And like, a lot of brain power went into figuring out if it's the right decision to make. I went from doing solo gaming videos to doing group gaming videos to doing reaction videos to now doing solo gaming videos again. And the main reason for it is because, I was able to do all those different genres because my audience is there and my audience enjoys it, right? So whenever I make a video, I ask myself, will my audience enjoy watching this? And I tested it out with group videos, and I see, hey, my audience loves it. So now I'm recording videos with Jelly and Slogoman. I did the same thing with reaction content. I tested it out, and it did really well, and I was like, hey, my audience loves this. So now I'm at a point where I've been at 100 million views a month consistently for years, right? And I said, well, I'm done being at 100 million views. I'm going to take it to the next level, right? So I looked and I studied all these analytics, and I said, okay, what is my next best move? Well, I'm going to go to where I was when I was growing the most, right? Now, I was doing GTA 5 mod videos and some other gaming videos, but the core was I was making videos that my audience loved watching, right? So I asked myself, what does my audience love the most? Gaming videos. So I'm going to go to gaming videos. I'm going to do what I was doing back then, the same style, the same genres, the same twists, and I'm going to work on that. I'm going to build on top of that, and I'm going to improve that and make it so good that in a year time, people will look at my channel and go, there's no way he's doing what he's doing right now.
Easier said than done, though. I mean, Elliot, for you, I remember those times when you switched games even. It was like a nervous point.
Yeah, I think it's weird because I feel like it's always nerve-wracking changing game. I feel like me specifically, I think that the games that you play, Jordi, are a bit more like, they're kind of like, they're a lot more there for you than the game. Like, obviously there's like me still being a huge part of it, but like relative to a game like GTA, for example, or like the variety games you've done with like Overwatch, it was like, oh, I'm an Overwatch player, like that is what you do. You are an Overwatch player. If you're a TF2 player, I am a TF2 player, same with like even Fortnite now. So every single time I've had to change game, I have my entire audience not only saying like, oh, like, I don't like these videos as much as the old videos. They're like, you're a traitor. You betrayed the kind. We were a family and you've left us. And
I had the same thing, right? And it's very normal. But the thing is, if you switch games, how many years have you made Fortnite videos for?
3?
Sure. So you have 3 years of making Fortnite videos, 3 years of experience. If you now switch to a new game, you're back at 0. You're at the same playing field as anyone else who just started making videos on that game. And if it's a new game, you're tied with everyone, right? So why do you think you deserve more views, right? You don't. The video is probably bad. You know, it's probably not as good as like a Fortnite video. You need to work. You need to study it. You need to improve. You need to grind all the way to the top again, just like you grinded with your Fortnite content. If you make a Minecraft video, Elliot, it's not going to be good because you've probably not made many Minecraft videos. So you need to...
My Minecraft videos were amazing.
Well, where are they now?
I got
Why
bored,
did you stop?
and I ran out of ideas.
And there you go. You didn't make the cut.
Damn.
Fortnite got more views.
For now. But
Yeah.
do you think that if you spend a year or 2 years or 3 years working on Minecraft videos, Fortnite would still get more views?
I actually do. I think Fortnite's this weird juggernaut that's actually really, really hard to... It's weird. I think the interesting thing is... If you look at, like, you know, channels like your channel or Jelly's channel, it's a weird thing to look at, because if you look at, like, you know, if you post a video tomorrow and I post a video tomorrow, my video will get more views. But because what the real downside of a game like Fortnite is it's very time dependent. Content that I post this week in a month from now is not relevant at all. The maps changed, the items have changed, everything's changed. People only care what's new. A video that you or Jelly or someone made of a custom GTA race map 3-4 years ago, you can watch today and you would have no idea that it was made 3 or 4 years ago.
So, Elliot,
unless you check the upload date.
What's holding you back from doing the same?
Because, and this is interesting.
I love this. I feel like this is a motivational
We're not going to get in a
talk.
giant debate on this right now, but because you're, like, back to that point we were making before, your content has always been more like general consumption, like general entertainment. So for you, someone could watch one of your GTA videos and they would probably also enjoy consuming, say, a Roblox video.
You're not answering my question. Why are you not doing it?
That is not true for a Fortnite viewer. So for me...
No, but why are you not doing what I'm doing if it's
off my
allegedly
back, Jordi.
better?
You're the guest on this fucking podcast. I'll kick you off right now.
So, Elliot, what I'm trying to say here is that the way that you're looking to this possible solution might not be the only solution, right? Why? You could just start like a second channel and do it there and do whatever you want to do there and study that and work on that and improve that. Like, nothing is holding you back from starting the grind all over again with the expertise, with the knowledge, with the financial backing, like your resources that you have right now. You could have like a popping channel in 6 months, in a year, whatever. If that is what it takes to push it to the next level, then you can do that. If you don't want to do that, then that's completely fine too. But all I'm saying is that there's always a way to get somewhere else. But how to get there might just not be as obvious as you think.
Thanks,
I think
Dad.
I think it's a good lesson though. Like, I think the takeaway for me is that it doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how many subscribers you have or how long you've been doing it. It's constantly keeping that curious mindset and constantly keeping that underdog mindset. I think, like, you don't feel like you're on top. You obviously know you're good and you have confidence in your abilities, but you don't feel like you're comfortable with where you're at right now.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree. I think that hunger is so
Hunger
key.
for growth, 100%. Yeah.
Hunger for improving.
Yeah.
Guys, not growth. You want to improve.
I mean, like, internal growth though. Hunger for your internal growth.
Sure. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Improve for growth.
So I guess what's next for Jordi? Like, where do you see yourself in the next year, 2 years, 5 years? Where are your passions like taking you now?
So, where do I see myself in a year? I want to have a extremely well-functioning team on my YouTube channel. I want to be able to do one video a day, and it constantly is improving and evolving by itself without me having to influence it too much. I'm working on a video game, which is coming out later this year, a skateboarding game. It's actually super cool. And then I also have a Facebook management company, which is currently just us managing YouTubers' Facebook pages together with MrBeast. And it's doing extremely well. And we think we can really, really take it to the next level through various different ways. And I think in a year time, all those 3 companies that I'm running currently will have evolved. Either will have evolved for the better or for the worse, but I don't care too much as long as I can, enjoy it, as long as I can improve, as long as I can learn from it, and as long as I can stay healthy physically and mentally while I do it.
It's good.
Beautiful.
Good lessons.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I feel like that's a good place to leave it. Jordi, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and chat to everyone. I feel like there was just so many good lessons there. And I don't know, I feel like I've got a renewed sense of motivation for the week ahead. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Watchtime. We will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.